What's up, everybody? The Beast Go back at it again for another album review. This album review, if you caught my collaboration with Air Guitar 92, I talked about a band called The Velvet Underground, and this specific album I was talking about, it's the album's just called, it's either self-titled or called The Velvet Underground and Nico. And this is like the notorious Andy Warhol image that he does this kind of style of artwork. I don't know too much about Andy Warhol and his work, but I know it was pretty, for his time and probably still now, it's some of the most kind of prominent work of that era, the late 60s and all that stuff. And I'm pretty sure if you guys have seen Exit Through the Gift Shop, the guy at the very end of the movie, he kind of was ripping off a lot of artists, and you can tell there's a lot of Andy Warhol influence. If you've seen that movie, I think you would know what I'm talking about. But anyways, this album right here is classic. It's a quintessential album. It started everything. It started so many different genres, like alternative, punk, experimental. Just the Velvet Underground was one of those first kind of bands that really kind of stuck out their neck and really started experimenting with different noises, the tuning in guitars, just different drum patterns, kind of the moods and stuff like that. Now you can think of a lot of like albums that come to mind when they kind of put you in a mood. Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. That was an album that kind of totally took the perception of the Beach Boys and just totally, you know, put them on a whole nother plateau. But here's the album. Try to show the artwork a little bit before I get into the review. Just standard. Here's everyone in the band, and just, you know, your basic booklet, nothing special. I'm gonna go to a track-by-track analysis. I tend to do those in these videos. So the album starts off with Sunday Morning, and it opens with this kind of, you know, like you're coming up a hill and it's kind of the sun's coming out. That's the kind of feeling I get from those opening kind of chords that do-do-do-do, you know. That was a terrible. Don't take that. Just listen to the song. But it starts off the album great. It sets kind of a happy tone. This album goes, it's a roller coaster ride, and a lot of the themes and lyrics are very dark for the time, but I think it was, I mean, I'm just shooting from things I've heard and read online, that Lou Reed, he wanted to make music that, kind of like a poet, just write down the stuff, even though it was dark and dealt with kind of, you know, like the underbelly of New York, and just like, you know, just everything that a lot of people weren't talking about were expressed on, you know, these albums, The Velvet Underground, and through Lou Reed's music and all that. But Sunday Morning, amazing track. I'm sure if you know anything about The Velvet Underground, you've heard the song. And then second goes, the second song is I'm Waiting for the Man. This is, you can kind of tell that it's kind of dealing with drugs and stuff. And this is just another awesome track. Lou Reed, really, the vocals on this track I really like. Again, it's a good transition from Sunday Morning. Those two songs definitely give you a nice, you know, like when you preview an album, the first two tracks really need to catch your attention for what the album's going to do. And I think these two tracks are placed perfectly next to each other. And then number three, probably the biggest song they've ever released, in my opinion, Femme Fatale. And this really showcases Nico, her vocals, and if you never heard Velvet Underground and you just heard Femme Fatale, you probably would think it was a different band. It's a very different track, but probably the biggest track on this album, if not their whole discography. And then number four, Venice in Furs. I think it's Venice or it's Venus. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but this is like the first track that really showcases like the kind of stuff they were doing with guitars and stuff, and just experimenting with the sound. For the time, even it holds up today. Like, it's a very experimental track, and you know, it really gets in your head, and it's a very cool track to listen to. This album is, if a mood, I would like approach this album, kind of a mellow mood, and just, you know, when you want to really think about a record, this is definitely one of those CDs if you're in the mood to listen to like a record, definitely put this one on. And then 5 is Run, Run, Run. This one's a really like scattered track, not scattered, but like pacey, kind of like, you know, run, run, run. It's a little bit like frantic in a good way, kind of just like. This one's kind of hard to explain, but it's kind of a shorter track. It does, you know, it's a good, from Venice to Furs and then Run, Run, Run. That's the two tracks blend very well together. And then number 6, All Tomorrow's Parties. I believe Nico's on this one again. Nico like appears occasionally in the CD. She could appear in all the songs, but it seems like she does a lot of lead vocals on All Tomorrow's Parties and a few other ones. This one's nice. It's kind of like in the realm of Femme Fatale, but I think it blends more of the Velvet Underground's sound a little bit more into that song. 7, Heroin, probably one of my favorite songs on this album. It obviously by the title it's talking about drugs. I've never done heroin myself, so I mean I'm not the one to, you know, speak up if you're talking about heroin, but it almost feels like you're going through this trip, you know. There's the phone. I'm doing a video. And anyways, just ignore that ring. Heroin kind of it sends you through the trip, like, because I've never done it. If it's anything like this song, you know, maybe I should try to do heroin or something. I'm not gonna do heroin. Number 8. There She Goes Again. This one's kind of like Sunday Morning. It's got a happier mood to it. I haven't heard this CD in not this CD, but this song in a while. But I always remembered it was just kind of like a nice. From Heroin, it's a really long and kind of. It's a very like serious, very moody and dark song. So it kind of brings you up from that. So it's a good song to be on the right after Heroin. And then number 9, I Will Be Your Mirror. I think Nico's on this one a lot too. This is one of my personal favorites from Nico. I don't know, it's just the catchiness about it. There's nothing really to talk about. It's just a very catchy song, and I really like the lyrics in it. Number 10, the Black Angels Death Song. This one's probably the most experimental on the album. It's very dark and just. It's crazy coming from an album that came out in 1967 to have a song like that on it. You definitely check that out if you want to see like what like some of the most experimental songs in the late 60s were. And then the last song on the album is European Sun, and this just closes the album perfectly. I feel like this song it blends all of the Velvet Underground sound into one track and perfectly closes the album. So I hope you liked my album review. Definitely pick up this CD if it's around you or anything. When I first got it, it took me a few listens to kind of get into it because the one thing that you have to realize with albums like this, the sound quality isn't going to be, you know, even if you remaster this or anything, you're still going to get, it's a late 60s album, and I kind of feel like that helps it a little bit because the mood they were going for in that CD, the sound quality, I feel like definitely combines with it and helps it in a way. So definitely listen to that CD. Check out the Velvet Underground. Comment, rate, subscribe, thumbs up. You know, do what you do. Give me some suggestions for other albums you would like me to do, and have a good weekend. See ya. Oh, and the Canucks didn't win the Stanley Cup, but you know, what can you do? Next year. See you guys. Peace.